Hi, this is Mohana Priya, IT Professor Dr. SNSRCAS College of Arts and Science, Coimbatore. I already posted a video on Introduction to Software Engineering and Introduction to Software Lifecycle Models. This video exclusively for Classical Waterfall Model. In my previous video, I explained what a software lifecycle is nothing but software process. Software process is nothing but activities carried out during the development of the software is known as software process. And lifecycle, there are several lifecycle models available in software engineering concept. Few models are classical waterfall model, iterative waterfall model, evolutionary model, prototyping and spiral model. This video clearly explains about classical waterfall model. Here classical waterfall model divides the activities into several phases. Here phases are also called as stages. There are 6 phases. One is feasibility study, requirement analysis and specification, design, coding and unit testing, integration and system testing, and finally maintenance phase. This is actual structure of classical waterfall model. These phases are organized in like as a waterfall. Once the phase is completed and it enters to the next phase, it cannot come to the previous phase. That is the concept of classical waterfall model. For example, once the design phase is completed and it enters into coding phase, the coding phase cannot go and review to the design phase. This is the concept of classical waterfall model. So how much effort to be taken to develop the software by using the classical waterfall model means the entire the entire life cycle of the software product can be categorized into two major phases. One is development phase and next one is maintenance phase. Yeah, about 100% of effort, there are 40% of effort to be given for the development phase and 60% of effort can be given for the maintenance phase. This is actual scenario which software engineering insists. Likewise, in this the left side chart explains the how much effort to be taken for development phase. Here in this chart explains the requirement specification, design, coding and testing. These 4 phases are called as development phase and maintenance is a single phase. 60% of effort to be given for the maintenance phase, and among the development phase, testing phase consumes more effort but maintenance consumes more effort than the testing phase. First phase of the classical waterfall model is a feasibility study. The main objective of the feasibility study to understand whether the project is financially and technically feasible. In this feasibility study, there are different data will be collected from the customer. Some data are what are the processing statements, what are the input to be given, and what are the what he is expected as output, and what are the constraints he is expecting. Everything will be collected in feasibility study only. Second phase is called as requirement analysis and specification. The main aim of this phase is to understand the exact requirement of the customer, and the exact requirement will be documented properly. The document is called as software requirement specification, that is SRS document. This requirement analysis and specification phase divides into 2 major phases. One is requirement gathering and analysis. Second one is requirement specification. Requirement gathering is nothing but gathering information from the customer through interviews and discussions. The information will be collected from the customer, and finally it gives to the requirement analysis phase. In this phase, analyst will consolidate the information and he will reduce the contradictions and ambiguities, and only he take the important parts and required contents to develop the product. And after that, after requirement analysis, next phase is called as requirement specification phase. The analyst will give the consolidated report about the requirement of the customer, and the requirement specification phase will prepare a document is called as SRS document, which has the complete requirement of the software product, complete requirement for the customer, which is mentioned as SRS document. Third phase is called as design phase. Design phase requires input as SRS document. So design phase expects one input, that is called as SRS document, which is prepared by the previous phase requirement analysis and specification. The output of one phase will be as input for the next phase. This is the concept of classical waterfall model. So the input of design phase will be SRS document. The designers will design the product based on the SRS document. During design phase, software architecture is derived from the SRS document, just now I said, and there are two different types of design approaches are using. One is traditional approach and second one is object oriented approach. In traditional approach, there may be used flowchart mechanism, data flow diagrams, they may be used. In object oriented approach, they may be used object oriented concepts, object oriented diagrams like as a class diagrams, object diagrams, state diagram, interaction diagrams may be used. That is the objective of object oriented. So according to the development of programming languages, the designs also implemented a new one. And fourth phase is called as a implementation phase. Implementation is nothing but coding phase. The purpose of implementation is to translate the design into source code. The input for this implementation phase is the designing output from the designing phase. The output from the designing phase will be the input to this implementation phase. The design, the structure will totally convert into source code in this phase. During the implementation of phase, each module of the design is coded, each module is unit tested and tested independently as a standalone unit and debugged. Each module is documented. The purpose of unit testing is individual models to know whether the individual model is working correctly or not. The end product of implementation phase will be a set of program modules that have been tested individually. And fifth phase is called as integration and system testing phase. Here different modules are integrated in a planned manner and they will check whether the combined modules are working perfectly or not. Once during each integration step, the partial integrated system is tested. So here this is the structure. Module 1, module 2, module 2. There are several modules for a single project and that will be developed by many software engineers that will be combined together. That is called as integration testing. During compilation, during integration, there occurs many errors that will be solved in this phase, that is called as integration testing. Next is called as system testing. Once system testing starts after the integration testing is over. What is the goal of the system testing? It is to ensure the developed system functions according to its requirements as specified in the SRS document. In this system testing only, the outcome of the software product will be compared with the SRS document. Whether the customer expectation is met by the software product or not will be tested in system testing. There are different types of testings. There are different types of system testings available here. One is alpha testing, beta testing and acceptance testing. That will be discussed in future classes. And last is called as maintenance. So once system testing is done, the product is ready to deliver to the customer. So after delivering to the customer, whenever the customer meets the problem and gets the error, the next phase is started is called as maintenance phase. We already discussed the total effort to be given for the maintenance phase is 60%. So we have to, as a company, as industry, should give more importance to the maintenance efforts. There are several ways a customer need maintenance from the industries. One is corrective maintenance, perfective maintenance, and third one is adaptive maintenance. In corrective maintenance is nothing but correcting the errors which faced by the customer. Perfective maintenance is nothing but to improve the implementation of the system. That means a customer may require to enhance the product with new functionalities, new additions. So that maintenance is called as perfective maintenance. And third maintenance is called as adaptive maintenance. That is bringing a software product to the new platform is called as adaptive maintenance. That means a product is working under Windows, but a customer wants to move to the Android based system, so that maintenance is called as adaptive maintenance. So these are all the summary and these are all the some of the glimpses about classical waterfall model. Thank you for listening.